Pandora's box is about to open wide.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Pandora's box. I'm your host, as per usual. Well, it depends. You know, I'm the cousin of the American cousin of the regular host. I am Cletus Jackson. Welcome once again to Pandora's box, ladies and gentlemen.
Hell yeah.
As usual, I got my compatriots, my American compatriots. I got straight out of the sheriff's department. I got a deputy, why can't I remember your name?
Deputy Raymond Jr.
Deputy Raymond Jr.
That's
Deputy
right.
Raymond Jr. And, of course, the youngest son, the youngest boy of my second cousin, Delilah. We got Stretch McCoy.
Howdy doody, ladies and gents. Howdy doody. It's doing well, man. I'm excited. We got a lot to talk about.
We're broadcasting you from AEW Radio, but we're also playing out on Spotify and YouTube. If you're watching on Spotify and YouTube, you might have noticed that the gentlemen today are wearing protection.
That's right.
It's always
got our tinfoil hats on,
That's right, man.
Always important to wear protection.
Your head.
Wear protection, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta always be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes, you get one of these things that look like this coming out, and then y'all gon' do something to that egg.
no death rays permeating.
That's right, man.
Permeating that skull of yours.
I actually took this off a Fulham Viking that I found. Yeah.
A fallen Viking? What, recently perished or for a long time ago?
I believe so, man. I believe so, unless he was, frozen in ice, perhaps. I'm not sure.
All right.
But,
well, it's crazy things you'll find. Crazy things you'll find in Kentucky.
They
exactly.
don't make them like they used to, man.
Absolutely
That's a
not,
piece
man.
Of art right there, I can see.
There.
Sometimes in Kentucky you find fried chicken. Sometimes you find dead Viking.
That's right, man.
He strayed quite far from Norway.
And a protected one, too.
But, those Vikings, they're always looking for new fertile lands. And, what better place to plunder than the home of KFC? After a long voyage, a long sail, you got to get that Kentucky Fried Chicken.
No better place, man.
On the go. But yeah, welcome to Pandora's box, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first Pandora's box with now that Donald Trump is the 47th president of the United States. And
hallelujah!
Deputy Raymond Jr. is ecstatic about
this. I'm so ecstatic about that.
He cried with joy.
I cried with joy this morning. I can tell you that. I'm so happy.
And this is all I have to say on the matter. I have to say that for all the people that wanted Trump to get into office, I hope that he lives up to your expectations and fulfills all your wishes and fulfills all of his promises. And to all the people that didn't want Trump to get into office, then I have to say I hope that let's just hope that you're wrong. Let's hope that be a big man or a big woman, and if he does do the opposite of what you think. And by that I mean, if he is a really good president, I hope that you're just genuinely glad about that. Because at the end of the day, America is the most powerful country in the Western world, and we want America to thrive.
Bring back the land of the free.
We want the West to thrive,
man.
and we want the world to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, if the man does a good job, then good on him. I hope he lives up to all of his promises. I hope he lives up to all the things he says he's going to do.
Absolutely, man.
If he can have a positive impact on the world and have a positive impact, make sure that he's enforcing that freedom of speech. Maybe bring an end to the wars, maybe that are currently taking place in this world. That obviously I think are worrying all of us. Then that is surely a good thing. But maybe we can maybe revisit this topic later on, if the gentlemen so wish to. But I wanted to today to talk about some amazing individuals. And I thought that it's crazy. Fame is a weird thing, sometimes there were amazing human beings out in this world. There are a lot of amazing human beings, but maybe they fly under the radar for whatever reason. And then on the other hand, there are some people that are insanely famous, and you're like, what are you famous for again?
What's even going on?
I mean, I don't mean to single the guy out, but what's that guy, Rylan? Is it Rylan?
I know the guy you're talking about.
Wasn't he on Only Way is Essex or something like that? Or
I think he was on X Factor.
Was he on X Factor?
I think so.
I mean, I don't want to single that guy out. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but it's like, what's that guy famous for? Or and don't get me wrong, I know what she's famous for. She's famous for being a musician, but Cardi B, musicians like that. I mean, she just sings about her vajayjay. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's nothing wrong with her vajayjay, but I don't want to hear about her vajayjay. I'm a married man, So it's like, but then compare that to the people I'm about to mention. You tell me who's more deserving of being famous. I'll let you two decide.
I'm excited.
You tell me. Maybe you'll say actually, Cletus, I do think that Cardi B and her vajayjay deserve to be more famous than these people that you're about to mention.
WAP, as she says.
What does that mean, man?
a wet ass vajayjay.
Hey,
Oh,
That's right, man.
I see.
Wet ass
Yeah.
P-word.
Or WAP.
Well, if that's what makes you famous in this day and age, then I don't even know what to tell you.
Damn.
But the first man we're going to learn about today is a guy called Göran Kropp. Have you ever heard of this guy?
Göran
Kropp.
Göran
Cool name, man.
Kropp. He was a
Göran
Swedish
Kropp.
adventurer.
Oh, nice.
All right.
And this guy is an amazing human being. I hadn't heard of him before, and I can't believe, in hindsight, I'm like, why isn't this man more known? He's an inspiration to mankind, an inspiration to little babies out there everywhere that want to grow up and make a difference on this world. And just believe in themselves. Realize that you can overcome anything as long as you have the mental and physical fortitude to do so. So let me tell you about Göran Kropp. He was a Swedish adventurer and mountaineer. He's famously known as the Crazy Swede. He set out in 1996 on a journey that would become legendary in the annals of adventure.
Oh, my.
Crazy as well that he set out in 1996. That was when we were growing up. You would have thought at least we would have heard of him, wouldn't you? But I'd never heard of him.
I thought you were going to say like 1930s or something like that.
Yeah, well, no.
Man, that
first
almost seems like too late to explore. You
I
know?
know what you
know
mean.
what I mean? Like, I feel like today I couldn't be
been
an
explored
explorer.
by them, man.
They've seen it all. Yeah, they've seen it all out
Well,
there.
yeah, he wasn't exploring like undiscovered territories. You'll understand once I
All
tell you
right.
a bit more about him.
All
Right.
right.
So, his mission basically was a testament to human endurance, human grit, sheer determination. He had an audacious plan. That plan was to cycle 8,000 miles from Stockholm, Sweden, to the base of Mount Everest,
Oh, my.
and in Nepal. And then to climb Mount Everest
I was gonna say,
completely.
you got to go up. If you're going to the base of Mount
Yeah,
Everest,
man.
you got to go up Mount Everest. Man.
But the crazy thing is, as a lot of people might know, is most people that climb Mount Everest, for a start, they do it with the help of the native people. I believe they're the Sherpas. I believe they are.
Oh, yeah.
The Sherpas of Nepal, who usually help them out. And they also usually take oxygen. Like in bottles. Where they can breathe oxygen because
Have a suck on that.
the altitude is super high. And there's that
Make
thing
it queasy.
you get to what's known as the dead zone, don't you? In Everest, when you're climbing Everest, and you get to what's known as the dead zone, where literally loads of people have died there, and there are literally the frozen bodies of a lot of people who have failed tragically to climb Mount Everest. That's how dangerous it is. So he decided he was going to do it without any oxygen, without any help. He was just going to do it on his own.
Wow.
What's even crazy, as I said, he cycled, as I said, 8,000 miles. Can you imagine cycling 8,000 miles? I can't
My God.
imagine cycling 8 miles.
I once, in 3 days, cycled, I believe it was about 130 miles.
Wow, man.
Man.
That was in 2010.
That's crazy.
Contributed to charity, a little charity cycle ride. And I tell you what, I was tired. By the end of that day, I was super tired.
You had to chew on those wine gums.
Oh, man, my blood sugar levels went so low, I was like seeing stars.
Pass out.
And I was seeing stars. The only time in my life I was ever like seeing stars, I had to eat a whole entire little tube, of wine gums, and then
Stick of wine gums.
went straight to a good pub down in Cornwall, and had a mixed grill and a pint of Coke. And that sorted me right out. But I tell you what, even just cycling 130 miles, which you don't have to be any great mathematician to realize that is nowhere near 8,000 miles. Even that, I tell you what, by the end, my feet were hurting, my quads were hurting, even just my ass, like sitting on the seat, And I had that nice little padded, shorts as well. So I wasn't just going bare. I wasn't going bareback. I was padded, And even so, I had a sore ass, sore gooch.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Absolutely.
That was just 130 miles. So think. As I said, apparently, and this is an interesting fact, if you were going to walk from Stockholm to the base of Mount Everest, guess how many hours do you reckon that would take you?
Oh, man. Thousands.
Well, yeah.
Thousands, man.
1,857 hours.
My God.
When you bear in mind there's only 24 hours in a day, that's kind of boggles the mind, don't you think?
Yeah, man. What was that number again?
1,857 hours. That's how long it would take to walk.
75 days around there somewhere?
I can't do the math, but
a lot of days.
I'd say between 70 and 80, somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's a lot of days, man. I mean, there's 24 hours in a day. So
you think 2,400 hours, that would be 100 days.
Yeah.
So just take away sort of, what?
A little chunk of that.
Yeah, a little chunk of that. Exactly.
Yeah, it's a lot of
long
days.
time.
It's a lot of
and
days.
That I assume, man, that's if you were just going all day, all night.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Of course.
Without sleep.
which obviously
so
has...
you got to double it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you got to sleep. You probably would even need some days off. After about freaking half of the journey, your feet would be blistered, bruised, broken boned, you know? So yeah, this guy was just a crazy, crazy individual. He had just sheer willpower and determination. He cycled through numerous countries, enduring harsh weather, rough terrain, and physical strain. He pedaled all across Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and Asia, confronting various challenges including sandstorms, torrential rain, and snowstorms. But Kropp was no stranger to adversity. Oh no. He spent years mountaineering as it prepared him for his mental and physical journey. By the time he reached the base of Mount Everest in May of 1996, Kropp had already endured nearly half a year on the road. Half a year of nonstop cycling.
Crazy, man.
Arriving at Everest Base Camp was a victory in itself, you know, just cycling 8,000 miles. But the most challenging part of his journey still lay ahead. Unlike most climbers who arrive at Everest Base acclimated to high altitudes due to flying in, Kropp was acclimated from sea level. He'd spent, half a year cycling. So he wasn't actually in as good place, really, to handle such demands. But he made the decision to attempt a solo ascent, refusing any assistance, even though it was offered to him, or bottled oxygen. He took no bottled oxygen.
How is that even possible?
I know, it's just sheer determination. This was an era where such attempts were nearly unheard of. Supplemental oxygen at the time was considered almost essential for your safety when climbing Everest.
It seems essential to me.
But Kropp just believed he could do it on his own terms. He believed that if he just pushed himself, he was going to do it. And to be fair to him, he did.
Whoa, man.
That makes it even more impressive because in that year, in 1996, it was one of the most infamous years in Everest history due to a tragic storm that claimed the lives of several climbers that tried to climb Everest that year. So it just so happened that not only did he do it without oxygen or help, but he picked a year that was especially dangerous, and several climbers that year had already died. Despite these tragic circumstances, Kropp's determination to climb Everest solo and unsupported did not waver. Over the course of his ascent, he faced fierce winds, icy slopes, oxygen deprivation as he climbed into the death zone, the area above 26,000 feet above sea level where oxygen levels are dangerously low. By that point, you're basically an astronaut. You know what I'm saying? You're basically working for SpaceX. But his tenacity proved unstoppable. He managed to summit Everest on the 23rd of May, 1996, without using bottled oxygen. Reaching the summit was not only a testament to his physical strength, but also his mental resilience. Göran Kropp stood atop Everest. It wasn't just a personal victory for him. It was the culmination of an epic adventure that few would dare to even dream of. His journey to the summit was a tribute to the human spirit and its capacity for endurance, proving that even the most ambitious dreams can be realized with unwavering dedication.
That's amazing.
But the crazy thing is when he got back down to the base, the trip was not over because now he had to cycle the other 8,000 miles home.
Oh my
Can you believe it?
My God.
Can you believe it?
That's crazy.
Most climbers, upon completing such a feat, would consider a moment to rest. Just enjoy your victory for a little bit. Party, maybe.
Chill out with the Eskimos, man.
But the mission was not over. He now had to cycle 8,000 miles back home to Stockholm, Sweden, again on bicycle. He cycled again across the vast stretches of Asia and Europe, retracing his path through countless towns and cities, determined to complete the expedition he started. His return journey was marked by physical wear and tear, and he often rode through pain and exhaustion. Nevertheless, he managed to make his way back to Stockholm, fulfilling the extraordinary goal he had set for himself to journey the world's highest peak and back home again, entirely on his own, without any help. Isn't that crazy?
Man, I see why they call him the Mad Swede.
Yeah,
I really do. I really do.
Unfortunately,
and what's also crazy is I had not heard of this man.
I know, that's what I mean, right?
That's what I'm saying.
You think
Cardi B, but no.
You think a man that cycled 16,000 miles and climbed Mount Everest all in essentially one massive day out would be quite famous. But yeah, the fact that you know about Cardi B and her vajayjay, but you don't know about this
not
man.
This specimen of a human being.
Put respect on Göran Kropp's life and his name. Göran Kropp, you are a friend of the pod, or at least you were a friend of the pod, because unfortunately his life was tragically cut short in 2002.
Oh my!
During a climbing accident in the Cascade Mountains in Washington, USA. However, his legacy lives on. He is an icon of courage, perseverance, and unbreakable spirit. The story of his Everest expedition continues to inspire climbers, cyclists, and explorers around the world, reminding them of the power of a dream and the strength it takes to pursue it fully.
Oh,
Man.
So yeah, respect to old Göran Kropp. Remember his name, Göran Kropp. R.I.P. What a man.
Kropp.
What an individual.
Man, some people are just built different.
They are.
Like, this is a small
Preach, Stretch.
scale that I'm going to tell you about now, but I've got a friend who, I don't know if it was for his birthday or just for like a sort of celebration thing, like a little party thing. Instead of going out drinking, he flew all the way out to Milan, Italy, and cycled the whole way home.
Is this a guy your age?
This is a guy my age, you know,
Fair play.
and he's not, you know, a good athlete. He can run a marathon, you know, he can run a long way.
Fit guy.
But at the same time, I don't think he's like a super athlete. I think
No.
he's probably at
He's no
home
Brock
right
Lesnar.
now. He's probably at home right now eating a sausage roll.
Right, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
He's not. He ain't training every day, I don't think. Or maybe, but just I don't know.
Maybe.
I find it crazy that I spoke to him actually when he came home, and I said, "How'd you do it, man? How'd you do it? Like, what was the hard part?" He said, "Well, I didn't like when it rained, but for the most part, not too bad." And that was about the extent of the conversation. You know, a man of few words, Rob Fieldhouse. A man of few words,
I mean,
but a man of determination. You
As
gotta
long
say.
as he had a waterproof, jacket on.
Exactly.
You
Then
know,
he's trucking.
Push on through that.
Yeah.
Just deter the rain a bit.
Absolutely.
I can imagine cycling's very fun, man. Especially if you're on roads, because road cycling is not too hard as long as you're not going up some crazy ass hill.
I imagine if you're doing like
I haven't cycled in a long time. You know, so
My old
I need
man
to
used
get
to
a
take me
bike
out on
in.
some brutal cycle rides when I
Yeah.
was a kid. Really brutal cycle rides. Probably get social services on the case nowadays. I mean, I'm probably joking. I don't really know myself. But yeah, you definitely when I was not much older than my daughter
Push
is
you to
now.
the limit.
Yeah, man, we used to cycle freaking miles. Well, miles and miles and miles. We cycle from the middle of town right out around Chilton Village and all, all the crazy places back. We get chased by dogs and bloody up hills. And I remember being like, "Dad, are we there yet?" And he'd be like, "Just around the corner, son." He was lying. He was lying. We'd have miles to go, but I think he just said, thought it'd be easier psychologically if he said we were almost there. At the time, I was so young and just gullible, I just sort of believed
you're
it.
trucking
You just keep
along.
on
So
doing
every
it.
5 minutes, I'd be like, "We nearly there yet, Daddy?" He'd say, "Nearly, son." And I go, "Okay."
That's good training, man.
You would have thought I would
train
twig.
hard.
I've been saying that for an
At one
hour.
point, you'd have thought maybe we ain't that close.
That shows the trust a man naturally has for his
Absolutely.
father. The trust a man will naturally be born with his father. Usually, as you get older, that trust wanes. For right or wrong.
I can pinpoint the moment as a child when I stopped riding bikes.
I thought you were going to say that you stopped trusting your father.
Maybe they're one and the same, man. Maybe they're one and the same.
maybe.
I remember I went down a hill and I was yay high. Loved riding around on my bicycle full speed. And little did I know, this hill, it had a speed bump.
Oh, don't.
Oh, damn.
And
He went flying.
That day, I went higher than a man ever should. And I landed straight on my head.
Higher than that guy at the last Olympics that got his Todger caught on the pole.
That's right, man. I saw him up
on
there.
the high jump?
I saw him on my way up.
You saw him on your way up.
Absolutely,
You were like, "Hey,
man.
fair play, man."
Yeah, watch that thing.
Yeah.
But,
Congrats.
landed on my head,
that's-
bounced off the floor, and since then, man,
You never been the same.
never been the same.
What are some of your worst bike falls? Because we all have them as a kid. Oh, do you have many of those?
I've had a couple. Luckily, nothing too bad.
I had a
I mean,
couple.
talking about my father, I effed him up pretty bad. Because
He should know not to trust you, man.
maybe
Way
he
around,
does.
perhaps.
Maybe he does. I don't know. But we were.
Between that and the incident with the sofa going up the stairs.
Oh yeah, he wasn't very happy about that. I was with your brother at the time. He had. I'll tell you quickly this. I'll make a quick detour to tell you about this story with the sofa,
excited,
and then I'll
man.
go back to the one where I effed him up on the back. But my old man used to do a lot of work in Southampton, and he had a little flat called in a place called Leon Solent, and it was like the seaside town. I think it was quite near Portsmouth, and used to stay there at least one night a week, usually midweek, maybe 2 nights a week. Anyway, I helped him move in, and I was with your brother Joshua.
All right, I know the man.
Yeah, named after the Joshua tree, I
That's
do believe.
right.
I so
That's
do believe. Me and Joshua, Joshua Mark, we were helping. We were on one side carrying the sofa. My old man was the other side. We were going up these stairs, and there was like this like glass door that we had to take off the hinges to so we could fit this like sofa through the door. Anyway, long story short, I think he said stop, and I think I was so busy just laughing and horsing around with Josh, I didn't hear him say stop, so I kept on going, and then basically it forced him to fall over, and then the sofa landed on him, and he was not happy with me.
God.
He was cussing me out. And what was real funny as well is just, you can just picture it. I remember it was like he landed, and then like midair, he was like, "You stupid boy," or whatever. Landed on his sweet behind. Sofa landed on him, and then for a split second, he just went deadly silent. And I just remember me and Josh went, you just look at your friend, it's like complete silent. And we were like, "Oh my God, he's dead." And then no, he was all right. He just got up and he just cussed us out. But that was pretty funny. But yeah, that other time in Wemden, I was in front of him on my bicycle, and I was cycling through Wemden. And then I can't remember why, but I emergency braked. I can't remember what happened. I think maybe my chain fell off. And I think maybe I panicked a little bit more than I should have done. And I just instinctively just put my brakes on rather than just like chilling out. But he was like, we were going at quite a decent speed when I decided to just randomly put my brakes on. So he obviously naturally just went into the back of me. But then he flew off his back over the top of my head.
Oh my God.
And landed in the road.
Acrobat.
And yet again, he was not happy with me. I remember he was cussing me out. You calling me stupid boy, all of that. Yeah, it was an instinctual thing. I think my chain came off. I was like, I probably should just stop. Didn't really think about the fact that obviously he would probably crash into me.
You come off your back as well?
No, I was okay. I was all right.
God, went flying over the top of you.
The Archangel Gabriel was looking out for me that day.
Yeah,
but
man.
they didn't lay such graces upon him. It's a good thing there wasn't a car coming or something. He could have been clipped. But yeah, other than that, I remember on that 130 mile, I think it was about 130, maybe 125, 130, something like that, cycle ride I did in 2010. I did fall off my bike once. It was a rainy day, and I remember I think I was in front, and then I was like cycling down the road in a mind of my own, just like completely just thinking about something. And then I didn't realize I was supposed to turn off, and I think my old man shouted like, "Right!" And then at the last minute, I just sort of like, and then it was like really wet roads, really wet conditions, raining, and then I fell off my bike. Luckily, I didn't really hurt myself too bad.
I just bit of a slide.
Yeah, I just got on again and just kept on pedaling,
Get on truck.
You just got to sometimes when you fall off that horse, you just got to dust yourself off, get back on that son of a gun, and just ride on out of town, ain't you, And that's what I did.
God.
What about yourself, man?
I think two of the ones that come to mind is I used to like little making ramps when I was younger. We get the bricks and you put the ramps up, so you do some of that.
I could just imagine doing that. I don't know what it is. I could just imagine you doing that.
Yeah, man, and I used to like that a lot. And I try
Did you
to build
make
them
a
so
shoddy
high
ramp?
Sometimes that I would snap the ramp.
Oh, I can imagine.
I would hit the ramp and it'd be a bit too high and it'd just snap the wood.
Right.
Did that a couple of times, fell off like that. But a bad one was when I was a youngster here. I just moved down here, and it had been probably when I was about 12 or 13 or something.
Right.
And hanging out, and there were some BMX tracks and stuff around here. So
right.
One of them was at Wemden. There was like a dirt jump, BMX track. And then there was another one like somewhere near Wemden.
Was it
YMCA?
Was it?
No,
was it
man,
down
it wasn't YMCA. It was like, that place where you got your dog got bit.
Yeah, man. White
there?
Gates.
White Gates. I think it was somewhere down near there. There was the BMX track that was halfway up the hill in Wemden, and then there was this other few ramps down by there where someone had built them. And I remember I went down there, and there was all these guys jumping on. For some reason, this just ramp always used to mess me up down there.
Man, I know exactly where you are, because I know someone who hit that jump and had a bad time.
Oh, well, you know what I'm talking about.
It was rude.
And it was just a singular jump.
It might have been.
It was Deputy Raymond Jr.
There was that there, and I remember I was there with all the guys around and that, and I said, I'm not going to hit that today. And they're like, why not? And I'm like, because every time I hit that jump, I go flying, man. I won't do it again. I hurt
myself.
And then, they're like, don't be a pussy, man. Go do the jump. So I was like, right, I'll show you why I don't do this jump. So I took a big run up, hit the jump, oh my God, I crashed hard. It was like flipping and sliding.
Oh God,
and
man!
It was one of those ones where you like literally do that,
yep.
you know. And I'm surprised I didn't break anything. But I remember I was so embarrassed because I'd said like there's a reason I don't do this jump. I always fall off. And then I did it, and I was like,
you hurt yourself.
See, I told you.
And then you were just really, you were just really. Were you in a lot of pain?
I was in a hell of a lot of pain.
Where was the pain situated?
My ribs and my ass.
Oh man, two places you don't want pain, especially in the ass.
That's right.
Ribs,
you
ass, and arm.
You never want pain in the ass, man. That's never a good sign.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I thought of another one.
Oh, nice.
It was actually a time.
He's a glutton for punishment.
When I lived up north.
All right, back in Hartlepool.
Yeah, it was Hartlepool. There was a place called Apes.
The only thing north of Hartlepool is Scotland.
That's it, man. Up down there.
Up there.
Up country, yeah.
Yeah.
So and there was a place called Ape Skate. And it
was,
and it was an amazing skate park. It had a foam pit, so you could fly down the whole middle of the thing and hit this ramp and do flips and go in the foam pit. Like,
that's cool.
Awesome.
Right.
That was pretty cool. But they had those ramps, you know, where they're like kind of up like this and then flat across the top, you know, and you have like a curvy one going into a flat one. You can imagine that?
I can picture it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I tried to go up the curvy one, over down to the flat one to land, you know.
Right.
Hit this on my BMX, must have been about 10 or 11 years old, and I hit the ramp, and then like when I landed, I landed on like hit it too hard, and my ass like didn't land on the seat, it landed right in the bar. I broke my coccyx bone.
Oh, that's how you broke your coccyx bone. I remember you telling me you broke your coccyx bone once, but I couldn't remember how you did.
A lot of pain. That was the worst pain I've ever been in, and it was like, and I couldn't. I had to sit down sideways just for months.
Oh, that's nasty.
Did you get one of those like little cushions?
I didn't get no cushion or nothing. I just literally had to side sit on normal cushion.
That's brutal.
That's not optimal sitting.
Oh man, raw dog.
Yeah, savage. And then
raw dog.
And another one, and then just the last one was just a.
You've had quite a few.
Oh man, I used to like BMXing. I couldn't really skate, couldn't really BMX either, but BMX.
But you tried.
I tried.
But you tried.
One of the ones
I admire your perseverance.
Watch, like, dirt bike videos and think I want to do that, you know. But you know, you hit hard in the BMX, there's a lot of pain. But I was flying through Stillington, where I used to live up north, and me and my friend were just about to go to the shop, and we were racing each other to the shop. And there was loads of. It was autumn time, so there was lots of wet leaves on the floor.
Right.
Car came out or something. We both hit hard against each other.
Oh,
nasty. That was a nasty crash as well. That was probably my other worst one.
That is nasty.
Yeah, they're the ones that come to mind, but it's dangerous type of.
Have you ever had a nasty bike crashes, Stretch?
Just that one I went high, man.
Just when you went super high.
And I hit the floor so hard, I ain't doing that again.
I remember back when I was like late into the year of my 15th year on this planet. And also when I was 16 and 17, I used to hang around this old place in town called Sedgemoor Splash, and it was like the big swimming pool in this town, and behind it was called Brewery Fields, and it was a car park for Sedgemoor Splash, and a lot of the skaters and BMXers used to hang out there, and a lot of them were my friends, and I used to watch some of those guys, you know, would try mad tricks like Tom Remishevsky, Remo, Max Karakides, sometimes Willie, but he never did anything too crazy. But some of those guys, especially Remo and Max, I saw them do some savage stuff, and that was just in the car park, so that was just concrete.
Damn.
Yeah,
and they'd be doing these crazy 360 tricks. I can't remember what they're called nowadays. I'm too old.
Tail whip.
Yeah, they was like crazy, man, like 360 spinning tricks and stuff. And obviously, a lot of the time, as you can imagine, these things take a lot of practice. And when before you've nailed it, all you got to do is experience pain. You're just going to experience it. And I would watch these guys wipe themselves out. And you could tell that sometimes they were in so much pain, they were almost crying. Same with some of the skaters. I mean, my good old friend Lyle Durant and like Luke Rose and that, sometimes they would wipe out. And they would be and sometimes like fully bleeding out of the shins and all, real lot of pain. And for anyone that's ever fallen really badly and hit their shin, like it is so painful.
Yeah, man.
I remember I was sprinting. I don't think you came out that one. It's a shame you weren't there as well, man, because it was one of the craziest, most funniest nights ever. But it was a Carnival 2004. You've heard stories about it. That was the crazy night.
Was that when you broke up with
my ex-girlfriend Sally?
Yeah, man.
And we all got so wrecked. We got so wasted. And I remember I was like sprinting, funnily enough, through Splash Car Park, and I was sprinting full freaking whack drunk. I slipped and I cracked my shin. I was in 3/4 lengths.
Man.
Cracked my shin right into a pavement, right at the corner of the pavement.
Oh, damn.
I for sure gave myself a hairline fracture. I am so lucky I didn't fully snap.
Yeah.
Because it hit me so much. And
Man, good job you were so drunk as well. That probably helped to, like, you know,
I tell you what, though,
alleviate the pain a little bit.
Just goes to show how bad it was, because even though I was so drunk, it still hurt so bad.
Yeah.
I was like, for like 10 minutes, I was just like, just trying to contain the pain.
Yeah.
And then after about 10 minutes, I think I was okay just to sort of hobble off. But I was like hobbling.
Damn.
I was hobbling. That was a crazy night. That night was so crazy. That was the first night I ever met Calum and Joseph Wynn, two people that became good friends of ours, especially Joseph Wynn, and we're both in a band with Josh for a while. Mm-hmm. They were sort of like the other lead guitarists along with Drew of what was Peristalsis, then eventually Death by Kai. You know, they sort of like swapped out here and there over the years before Drew eventually became the lead guitarist again. But met those guys for the first time. That was just a crazy night. I mean, it's very fitting that I'm wearing a cowboy hat talking about the story, because it was like the Wild West that night.
Yeah, man.
I remember I got into a street fight. Me and my girlfriend broke up. I then got with some other chick. It was a crazy night. That guy, Elliot Johnson, he was really good friends, mainly with Lyle. But, I mean, you know, he was our friend. Me and Elliot was staying at our friend Lyle's house. Elliot ended up getting some fellatio. You know, got some head off this girl Abby, and then Lyle's mom.
Yeah.
But then Lyle's mom just walked in.
I think I was at that bit.
Were you there?
I was at the party then.
Were you? You were at Lyle's then?
I was at Lyle's house. I remember that day. I remember everyone.
You remember Elliot getting out of all the things? You remember Elliot getting sucked off?
Yeah, man. that rings a bell, literally. And,
that was crazy, man. That was crazy.
Yeah, but
man.
I wasn't around for all of it. I was around for part of it.
You turned up for the BJ.
I think I turned up for the orgy, man.
Turned up for the BJ. Fair enough, man. But I just remember it was so funny because there was like a room of about 10 people, maybe more, maybe like 12 people. Can't remember exactly who was there because I was so wasted. And I'll tell you what, my old man is a lot to blame for all the occurrences that night. And I'll tell you why. Because before I went out, and this is so my old man, like how many dads would do this? And I don't know whether to love him for it or to chastise him for it. Maybe a bit of both. But I remember I was like, Dad, I'm going out staying at Lyle's. It's Carnival. Have you got any spare booze I could take you? And he was like, let's. And he literally walked around the house with me with a black bin bag.
Oh my God.
And he was like, half a bottle of Jameson's. For a guy like that, he likes a single malts. He probably got given the bottle of Jameson's as like a gift from someone. It was like half bottle of Jameson's.
Definitely had some spare.
Oh man, it was like half bottle of Jameson's. Here you go, have that. Half a bottle of Ouzo he bought 15 years ago in Greece. I'm never going to drink that again. Here, have that. No joke. He put about 10 different types of alcohol in there, a lot of which were crazy spirits.
Perfect for a party.
I'm talking like 40 to 50% strength spirits. At the time, I was 14.
Oh my God.
So were my friends, and especially compared to me, to some of my friends that maybe grew up with more normal parents and weren't just complete freaking barbarians. Maybe they probably weren't quite as used to drinking such crazy alcohol as I was as a child. But, yeah, I just remember I got to Laos and there was like, you know, a few bottles of like old speckled hen ale and then this Ouzo and this thing. We would drink this mad concoction of...
Oh, my God.
And I know
mix it all up?
I'm not kidding you, right? You would have probably thought we were on drugs.
Yeah.
Because one minute I remember being in Lao's bedroom, drinking all this Ouzo, whiskey, old speckled hen, God knows what else. There was loads of weird stuff, like Sambuca, loads of crazy stuff. Like even random stuff like... what's that frickin' like coffee liqueur?
Oh, like Kahlua?
Kahlua.
Yeah,
I think it was like we were drinking a weird and no joke, man. I swear you would have thought that I was on like PCP or something.
Yeah, man.
We all lost our frickin' minds.
Yeah, you hadn't been around that kind of crazy stuff before, all mixed up.
We left Laos and all just walked off in separate directions. That's how wasted. Like that's not a normal thing to do. That's not a normal thing to do, is it?
No, man. No.
We just wandered off in separate directions. All had our own crazy little instances, and then somehow I don't even know how we made it back, and then met up with everyone else, and then ended up with Elliot getting that sexual. That sexual interaction. And then I just remember Lyle's mom walking in, and then funnily enough, Lyle had known the girl who was getting it on with Elliot since she was like a little girl, and that probably made it extra more weird. And I think she was like good friends with her parents or something, and that was just so funny, man.
Yeah,
that was a crazy night.
Drink responsibly, y'all.
But yes, how did I get? I got onto that because of how much I caned out my knee. And we were talking about like bike instances. The only other thing I can say, and this is obviously we decided to do this because we're morons. But the only other bike injury related thing I can tell you we used to do was this was also back in the Splash days, sort of like about 16, 17 years old. And like young men just do like stupid stuff. It's almost like almost like bravado, like who can be more dumb essentially. And I remember we used to with like Willie and Remo and that, and I'd do it with like Luke Rose and Lau and Nikki C and that. We'd like turn up a BMX upside down. And we'd spin the wheel until the back wheel was going really, really, really freaking fast.
Oh my!
And then you stop it with your freaking forehead.
Oh my god!
And I remember I used to do that, and then I'd walk around for about 4 days with just a freaking scab on my forehead. Because I would completely stop a freaking BMX tire from like as fast as you could possibly go just before it. And I can't remember who it was. I can't remember if it was Luke Rose or Nikki C, but one of them did it real fast and put their ball back on.
Oh my god!
I saw them.
They still had a ball.
It was like they were creeping it towards it while one of us was going like that, and you can just imagine just sort of one ball just go. Like just for a split second before they like pulled it back and we're like, oh, and they were not in a good way, man.
Oh man, I can imagine. That's quite a sensitive area where your skin there. I can imagine that ripped quite easy, you know.
Oh, I think they had some nasty burns. You know a lot about. I mean, not ball burns, but you know about it, penile burns because of that time with the sock.
Oh yeah.
What's this time, man?
Well, I don't know if we can really talk about it on there, can we? But God. Drew just had a bit of fun with a sock once.
Yeah, man, that's about it.
He thought that it would be. He thought that maybe it would be a tidy way to go about some things.
Go about your business,
but he didn't realize
the business.
He didn't appreciate the implications of friction burn.
That's the first time I realized that whole pain pleasure thing. I knew something wasn't quite right.
Ever since
it's when the pleasure overrides the pain. But then afterwards, the pain overrides.
The pain, massively, yeah, you know.
Yeah, be careful with that.
Did that turn on something in you didn't know you had? Do you reckon?
I don't know, really, man.
Have you been a bit of a sadist ever since?
Nah, not really, man.
No?
Not really, no.
So if we asked your significant other, she wouldn't have any stories about her whipping you?
Yeah, potatoes, man, when it comes to that department. Yeah,
you don't get whipped
crazy.
or anything like that?
I never had any, whips or ties
chains
up or something like that. It'd be pretty fun. I wouldn't be adverse to it, but I just haven't
especially up for it.
I just kind of take it when it comes, every opportunity when it's not. I ain't normally got time to think about that kind of stuff. I don't really plan ahead.
No, I'm the same. I'm the same, to be honest. Like, I'm a red-blooded man, should we say? I have a sexual appetite. I was gonna say
healthy sexual appetite.
I have a healthy appetite for certain things, but yeah, I'm not I'm not going into looking for extracurricular crazy things that you need to buy to bring into the bedroom. Most of the stuff I enjoy is stuff that you can do with what God's given you.
Yeah, man.
You and your lady friend. Just what you and your lady friend have been given by God.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's it,
not setting up the theme park.
No, I'm not setting up the theme park. I'm not getting at all the attractions. Tins and whistles.
I was so wet behind the ear. I remember this one time. Significant other, she dressed up for me real nice. In some kind of lingerie and stuff. And
Hallelujah.
We're getting it on.
Hallelujah. God bless.
God bless you. God bless you, deputy.
I don't think this is that X-rated, but I went to put my hand down the nether regions, and
I think that's expected.
And she said. You do realize that's got buttons down there?
And you went,
I just went, pop, and it popped open. I'm like, damn, I never seen nothing like that before. It's all still on, but it just opens up like that.
Handy.
I was like,
handy.
Man, that's a good invention right there.
I remember I was pretty starstruck the first time I came across it.
I didn't even know
let's face it.
I thought normally you got to
take them off. That's right.
That,
if you're being super lazy,
And she's like, you do realize that, hey, you ain't got to do that now. You do realize I go bump.
And you're just like,
pop it right up.
Yeah, man. Do you know, it's so funny. I mean, it just goes to show how much we're just numbskulls as men. Because I remember thinking exactly the same thing. I came across that contraption. I was like, oh, my God. I've never come across anything like this before. This is specially made.
Yeah.
This is bespoke. Bespoke for the boudoir.
Oh, damn. So that was a good one.
Great times, man. Great times. I mean, yeah, I remember... as I said, like just what God's given. I remember I was a bit like, I wasn't like shocked in a way. I'm not like prudish, but I thought it was pretty funny. I remember a while ago, probably almost 10 years ago, I remember a friend of mine, obviously won't name any names, a lady friend of mine invited me to like this like sexual New Year's party.
Oh, damn.
But it was like and I was like,
Never been
right.
one of those.
And I was like asking her about it. And I've never been to anything like that, and I imagine I never will. But she was like saying, oh yeah, it's like I remember we used to speak.
P. Diddy's house?
Maybe it was, but maybe it was. I mean,
Yeah,
I think it was.
I
think it was up north somewhere. So I don't know if P. Dizzy has anywhere in the north of England a little sex stand. But I remember, we were friends, so we would just talk quite openly. And I remember we used to talk about how she didn't believe in monogamy. How she didn't believe in like whole like one man for one woman sort of thing. She thought it was unnatural. We would just have conversations about it, I thought it was quite interesting, and obviously, it's good to have interesting conversations with people and see why they believe the things that they do. I didn't really have a dog in the fight, so to speak. I think I was a single man at the time, but I was just like, oh, right, well, I think I have always believed in monogamy, but I think you just have to find the right person, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, she invited me to this, like, sex party. She was telling me that you'd like walk in and there's like somebody that will be like chained on a freaking like round sort of wheel, like spinning as you walk in, and then that
the old BDSM.
and you walk into it, and like the whole lights down there. Apparently, you walk down in a basement. And it's all just like red light.
Oh,
so everyone said like it's like
a dungeon.
Yeah, so it's like red light. So it's like almost like everyone would look a bit weird. I can imagine like no natural light.
Devilish.
And then apparently there was like this room where you can strap yourself down on a table and you like electrocute your nipples and stuff, and everyone's just having sex and doing this weird stuff.
That sounds crazy.
I was like, thanks for the invite. I'm not sure if it's for me. I think I ended up going to Nikki C's house and just drinking some beers and that, and letting off some fireworks. Damn. I mean, maybe, a bit more tame.
Each to their own and all that, but I just don't really understand how you could be strapped to like a wheel, getting spun around, and not just sort of think to yourself, what am I doing here?
Well, I agree with you, Stretch.
What's going on?
I agree with you. I don't know what. Imagine if I'd agreed and I just walked in and just saw that person. I'd be like, what do I do in this situation? Really, Are
you all right up there?
Do you need a break, sir? Do you need a break, my friend?
I remember seeing this one. I watched this weird documentary once, and it was this woman that was like kind of going in and like behind the scenes at one of these swinger like communities.
Right.
And one of the things that they did, and I thought this sounds pretty intriguing. Apparently, she went in to do it, but then got a little bit in, and she had to get up and go.
Right.
But basically, what they do is they put this plastic sheeting down in a real warm room with lots of fires going in that, and then they just smother the whole room in oil. And literally, like
a slip and slide.
Like a slip and slide. Everybody lies down, fill the room, so you're brim to brim with people.
Surely that's a health and safety hazard.
So they can't see no one. So everybody's lying down. Everyone's completely oiled up. Everyone's all lying down. And you don't know who is who, and they're all just slipping, sliding all over each other.
Oh my God, like eels.
Like eels, man, like all over each other. Things go places that you don't even know what's where.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
And I was like, man, that sounds so weird, but they get off it, do that all
I
night
at least
long.
want to know where my phallus is going.
Yeah, man, exactly. I know. It's like,
when you got that much baby oil,
be?
It's just a free for all.
Yeah, man, it's a Royal Rumble.
You can't go anywhere. You go in someone's earlobe, man.
Yeah, you can't decipher one hole from the next.
No.
Yeah.
Someone's nostril, man.
Yeah. Slip right up there. A nostrectomy. Yeah. Crazy,
that
man.
sounded a bit mal.
There's a woman, speaking of things that are happening right now, there's a woman who went like real viral recently because I think she slept with 100 men in a day.
Whoa.
And I think the whole thing afterwards, she, got done. She said,
literally.
Yeah, exactly. got done a lot. Got done a lot. And she finished and she said, man, I'm going to do 1,000. And that is crazy, man.
What? So that's her new goal, is to have sex with 1,000 men a day?
I believe so.
Man, that's not good.
She ain't going to be able to walk for a week, at least.
No, man.
Maybe
never again.
Maybe never again. I hope it's worth it.
Yeah, man.
Imagine being the 1,000th guy. That's not fun by that stage.
Man. No, you're working into a battlefield, then,
man,
aren't you?
that's a lot of porridge you're stirring, man. That's a lot. You don't even know who's who by stage. She
damn.
gonna give birth some freaking monster, you know, some freaking Hydra with 1,000 heads, you know.
My God, twins, different dads. That's what I'm saying, man.
Man, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting goal for a lady to have in life. For any ladies listening,
I think you need to go to your shrink if you got that as a goal in your life, man.
I believe that everyone should have sovereignty over what they want to do in life. Of course, you are the only person that should have sovereignty over yourself and your body. But I do not recommend any young ladies listening, especially as a father of a young girl, to make that your goal in life.
Yeah, man.
I think that maybe you could do something else with your time.
Yeah, man. Win a medal. Don't do that.
I mean, maybe she is going to win a medal.
Maybe, man.
But it's not a medal worth winning.
No,
I don't
absolutely
think.
Not.
I mean, maybe it is to her. I don't know. Well, I don't.
It's a weird world, man. Like I heard this woman speaking about it. She went like mega viral doing this stuff, and she was talking about how like there were like sons and fathers that were like both turning up, like, hey, we're here for the party. You know, I'll go first, he'll go after.
And fathers tag teaming this young lady?
Damn.
That's crazy, no?
I don't know if I'd want to tag team with my father.
Man. Funny way to bond.
I wouldn't want to do that with my father.
No, man.
I'd be like, you can get out of here, Dad.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird.
You can get your...
Very weird.
Yeah, I don't want to do that with my dad.
No, man.
But what I do find is I wish I could have, like, you know, been in this time or something. Is either the Greek or the
Roman
or the Roman time, like where they're a bit more free and it's more
sex
sophisticated,
parties. Like sophisticated sex parties.
You know, and also like
you want to have a sex party?
Yeah, I want to have a sex party and like a harem, like you know, like Genghis Khan, and there was like the room of 10 pleasures. Have you ever heard that?
I know about it. I know vaguely about it.
And it's like the way they depicted it in Marco Polo, a brilliant series that's on Netflix. I advise everybody to watch that because it's really good. Really well shot and everything, amazing.
Right.
And it's about Kublai Khan, so it's about Genghis Khan's grandson.
That's right.
Yeah. So even bigger empire than Genghis Khan because it's like
the Pleasure Dome.
Yeah, they had
Pleasure Dome.
They had it was like the place of many pleasures or something like that.
Yeah. So what is this place?
And it's like a beautiful very, very dark and candlelit.
In Xanadu. Xanadu, that's where they had it.
Yeah, man, and like
Xanadu
had like silk like curtains going into Xanadu. People you kind of like lie there and lots of women like kind of stroking them and all this stuff, and it just looked amazing.
Like the best spar you've ever been in.
Yeah, but it seemed a bit more like classy. A little bit more like upmarket, classy, and like everyone was having a good time, but like. Not just like I don't know. It seemed pretty cool.
I know what you mean. I mean, apparently back in ancient Rome and stuff, the important people and stuff, they would quite often have parties where it's quite common for everyone to just end up sort of having, fellatio with each other, having sexual interactions, and it just didn't really matter. And obviously, back in Roman times, the Romans had slaves, so they like all the good-looking slaves would get in on the action. And they'd be like having sex with all the noble women and all sorts,
the gladiators would come up and do their business.
Little wife swap, little wife swap. Hey man, my missus has got this hair, your missus got the hair. Maybe we've been, having the same, little swap for tonight.
That's it.
Have y'all heard of a place called? I think it's called The Box.
No.
Y'all heard of this?
No.
I believe
I've heard of a box.
I believe it's in London.
Right.
And I think it's like a sort of high security like club that or high society club, what I'm trying to say. Where people go in and man, apparently the things that go on in there, you would never
and it's like quite exclusive, like for rich folk?
Same. I don't know. Or maybe it's just like a bit like
look that up.
Yeah, there's a place called Berghain as well, which is like a club in Germany, and I think that's kind of similar, but that's not necessarily for powerful people. It's more so for just like eccentric people. Like if you're in the line and you're a bit weird, you might get in, sort of thing,
Oh, right.
And apparently the things that go on in this place, I remember hearing one podcast about some guys who went into this box, and you get like a table. And they said the people that had the tables like by the stage, there were just some like weird clown guys that were coming out naked and just doing a little tinkle over everybody. People were coming out defecating. Like apparently it's a real weird place, man.
Why would you queue up to go to such a place?
I know.
I don't want to watch a clown.
I know. Weird people out there, man.
Why would you queue up to watch a clown have a wee?
I know.
Or a poo?
On you.
I ain't signing up for that.
No.
The way you were explaining it originally was like it was some honor to be picked out from the crowd.
I think to some people it may be, man. It may be.
Did you say it's in Germany?
The box is in London. That's where this is. So Berghain, I think, is a little bit more like an actual techno club that also just has like sort of sex stuff going on. Right. And maybe that's like a little bit less like clowns peeing on you. But the box, I think, I don't think that's all it is. Like, I think they probably have magicians and like other stuff coming out. But then, like, in between it all, you just have some weird, freaky stuff.
Sometimes it's like, in modern day, it's like we're living in Sodom and Gomorrah all over again.
Man.
You know? But you know what happened to that place, don't you? God smote it down. God smote it right off the face of the earth, you know? So you got to be careful, man. Once you crept past that line of spinning on a wheel
it's a downfall.
and getting weed on by a clown, you might be entering territory you can't ever come back from.
Man.
That's right, man.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, that's what I think anyway. But, yeah, strange place, London. It's like I said to you gentlemen earlier on. It's like the modern world. It's like a GTA game.
Yeah, man.
I remember playing
GTA
when I was younger, and you'd hear the funny stories on the radio in the game, and just the funny things that were happening, and you'd think like it's sort of like life, but it's so outlandish and so weird that it's like such a caricature. Somehow we've emulated art.
Yeah,
and now the real world is like a GTA game. It's
like
crazy.
We've been training with GTA what we want our real world to be like.
Oh man, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Should we get back to... actually, do you want me to tell you... I got some other interesting people to talk about.
Oh, yeah, man.
Some other things.
Hell yeah.
Do you want me to tell you... I know I've already told Deputy Raymond Jr., but do you want to hear a crazy story that happened to me the other day, Stretch?
Absolutely, man. I'm excited for this.
All right, so people local to where we are will know that recently it was Bridgewater Carnival.
That's correct.
I believe it's the biggest road carnival in the world, isn't it?
It is the biggest illuminated carnival in the world.
Okay.
I think Rio might be bigger, but that's just like people
Rio
walking
de
around.
Janeiro in Brazil.
My God, can I just say I love the carnival?
Yeah,
I think it's very fun, man. I think it's very fun. I was saying to you the other day, I cannot believe there's not been like a bigger documentary or something focusing on it, because it's fascinating.
I mean, I'm probably desensitized to it, to be honest.
Yeah, man.
Stretch, because I've just growing up. You know, I'm going to be 35 soon. I've grown up here all my life. I've seen so many carnivals. I don't even know what to do with myself. You know.
See, I would say I wouldn't ever think about it for the whole year, and then the day comes and my friend says, "Oh, it's carnival today," and I go, "Oh yeah," you know.
Did you go carnival?
I went this year, man. I went. I stood there. It was fun. Yeah, we had a couple drinks. We just stood there watching it, just having a chat with some friends, some music coming by. Not bad. Not bad.
Fair enough, man. I quite enjoyed that one. Do you remember, Deputy, where we went to the one in North Petherton?
Oh,
and I think your mom's friend Tony and that was there.
Man. Yeah,
and his wife, I can't remember her name. Is it Susan?
Suzanne or
Suzanne. But that was quite a nice chill one.
Yeah.
I remember there was that really nice old pub. Is it called like the Compass or something?
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. And I remember I'd never been in that pub before, but it had really nice wooden beams. We just got like a pint of royal ale, and I just really enjoyed just standing there with that real nice guy, Tony.
Yeah, he's
really
cool,
sound guy, and just
cab
like
driver in Plymouth.
Yeah, and he was just like real sound, just chilling with you guys, and just like having that pint in that real nice pub. And I thought this is the most chill carnival I've ever been to, but that was real nice.
Yeah, appreciating the floats.
Yeah, but last Saturday I didn't actually go to the carnival, but I went the other side of town. I went to my folks, and I went to where my Uncle Dom's living at my great grandmother's house. Had an afternoon playing some arcade games with my Uncle Dom. Respect to my Uncle Dom. And just had a good old chin wag, good old catch up with him. He told me what I'd been doing with his life and stuff like that. And I was thinking, right, it might be a little bit awkward getting home later because I have to sort of drive through town to get to where I live from where my folks are and where my great-grandmother is. Sorry, my grandmother, not my great-grandmother. Evie's great-grandmother. And anyway, I thought it should be okay, though. I'll probably be able to get down Dumble and then turn right down Wiles Road. Anyway, get down to Dumble, not letting cars down Dumble Street. And I'm like, what the hell, man? What am I going to do? And it said, diversion, get off next junction because it's by the motorway junction. So I'm like, okay, well, that's all right. Next motorway junction is a couple miles. Other side of Bridgewater, I can go down back lanes from North Petherton. Sort of pops out by Durley, your neck of the woods. Yeah. And then I can just go down Skimmerton Lane or via Spaxton. Either way, I can get back to Stogorgan pretty well from there. So I go down the M5, get off Huntworth Junction, absolutely fine. Start driving through Petherton, turn off in the country roads, absolutely fine. Get about halfway, maybe not that far. between North Petherton and Durley. I pull in because I see a Land Rover Defender coming. Easy for me to pull in on the left. He didn't really have somewhere to pull in, so I pulled in so this guy could pass. Anyway, gets closer to me, starts flashing, waving his hand out the window. I think, what's this guy want? So I put my window down, and he goes, I wouldn't go down there if I were you, man. And I said, why is that? And he said, there's a guy down there in a gimp suit attacking people.
Oh my God!
And I was like, I was a little bit. That's sort of like strange information to take in, and I'm not gonna lie, I was almost like a little bit taken aback. So I was like, come again? I was like, there's a guy in a what now, doing what now? And he said, yep. He said, I just drove down that lane. He said, a guy in a gimp suit jumped on my bonnet.
Oh my
I was
God.
driving down the road. He was hanging on to the bonnet, like being all freaking weird, like something out of a freaking horror movie or something. He said he then braked, the guy flew off, but then immediately started like running towards him again. So he did a 3-point turn real quickly and drove off. Then his missus got there was a lady in the car with him. The lady said that she rang the police straight away, told the police what was happening. They said local dispatch was already on its way because several other cars had reported people had been reported being attacked down there in the last hour by this guy who apparently had been like throwing rocks at cars, jumping on cars, kicking cars, being a freaking weirdo in general in this gimp suit. And I was so like taken aback by something. I was like, what? This, for anybody that doesn't know like the area, like it's a very remote sort of peaceful place, like those back roads between North Petherton and Durley. There's some nice little detached houses down there, the odd little farm. It's just a very nice area, you know. And it's the last place you'd expect a gimp to be attacking people.
Yeah,
I was thinking, where did this gimp come from? Did he live in the area, or did he wander down there and decide that would be the place he started attacking cars from? It's just, I don't know, it seemed a bit strange. And I said to the guy, I said, well, I'm so curious now. I sort of want to go down there.
Yeah, man,
but,
absolutely.
Unfortunately, I had my daughter in the back. And I thought that she'd probably maybe find it a bit scarring if we had an
man,
interaction.
that's a lifelong memory.
Like, it would have seemed funny to me.
Yeah.
But if this crazy guy in a gimp suit jumped on our bonnet and started being crazy and was like, I don't know what he was actually acting like, but I imagine that would have probably traumatized her a little bit.
Yeah, probably.
So I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to turn around. I'm just going to go home a different way.
That is a shame, because that would have been a really funny story,
I really wanted
to have met him.
I really wish that Evie hadn't been with me, because I really wanted to go down there and see what was up with this gentleman. But
do you know? There was a guy doing this years ago.
I know, and apparently
is it the same guy?
Yeah, he was in North Somerset, so same county.
Yeah.
That was more, north. I can't remember exactly where, but it was. I remember it was like North Somerset. We're in like more like West Somerset, West, Sedgemoor and West Somerset. But I mean, it's funny enough because I told my brother about it, and he said, "Do you reckon it's the same guy?" And I said, "No, I don't reckon it is," because that guy apparently was persecuted. They found out who he was. There was a guy originally doing it, and there were. It's quite funny in a way. Well, not funny for the people. A lot of people reported that they were like walking home and stuff, and then they realized that they were being like followed by this guy in a gimp suit. I'm talking like 2 a.m. Right?
That's so weird.
No one around.
Like that as well.
And apparently he was like making like weird movements as well. Some women.
Did you just get off on that?
I think the guy had like a wife and kids.
Oh,
like he had like a normal life.
That's so weird.
But some of the women he like attacked, if you want to call it, I don't think he physically hurt anyone, but he was like, man, he's scared.
Mentally scarred.
He scared the bricks out of some women. Like some women said that they saw him and he was making these weird, like almost like movements, like trying obviously to almost like act like something from a horror movie or something. They like ran home literally screaming. Imagine though, like you can sympathize.
Just got off on that.
You can, but you can imagine, you can sympathize. Like, imagine that. It's like 2
freaked
a.m.
me out.
You've been out. There's no one else around. You hear like a little noise. You're expecting maybe just to see someone else walking home or something. And then there's this weird person moving all freaky.
Man, the other night I got in Ludlow, little quiet little town.
Not a gimp story.
Not
another
not
gimp.
Quite,
Drew was
the nearly there.
Oh, Drew. Turns out Drew was the gimp.
It was like
Deputy Raymond.
There. I take my dog Rupert out for a little lap around the graveyard, like every night about 9, 10 p.m.
Right.
Just for the last little like
get his beans out.
Do that. And it's a Broad Street where we actually live. It's like probably the most famous street in Ludlow. It's like it's
pretty
just
broad,
a very beautiful,
pretty wide,
pretty wide, big 3-story houses on each side, like very different Georgian, Victorian, like different kinds of builds and stuff. It's quite famous for the architecture and the Tudor buildings, all that kind of stuff. And right below us, below our flat, there's a beautiful like a seafood restaurant. So I check. They get some chairs outside just on the thing. So I normally say hello to them, like good night and that. And there's this dude walking there. He's getting all the chairs in and that. So I say hello to him, let Rupert off the lead so we can go up the road. And I just hear this from behind me, like shouting, this angry shouting, like yeah, mother effers, the CIA and that's and they were saying nothing or M5 and
MI5 and
MI5.
MI5.
And he was like, but he was like shouting, but he was an angry man. He was a very
what was he so angry
man.
about?
I have no idea, but I thought that is weird. And the guy in the seafood restaurant said to me, someone's had a bit too much tonight or something, like as I walked past, and I could hear it in the background. But then I realized he was coming up this road. Oh God! And he was like coming up towards us and that,
He was making a beeline.
So I took Rupert's lead off, and it's got a few like metal clamps on there.
Nice.
And I wrapped it all up, and I thought, if this dude comes near me, I'm gonna belt him around the head with it. But it was one of those things where you are actually a bit like, I feel a bit like weird in this situation. Like he is obviously
made you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. And then I went for the lap round around the graveyard, and I came back still with this in my hand just in case. And I got chatting to the guy outside the restaurant. I didn't see him. He went off. But apparently he stopped outside the restaurant, and he was like shouting at this at the guy who was working there.
Oh,
and that,
man.
Why?
And he was like, and apparently he said, and you're effing seafood. It killed me 3 times.
Oh, my God.
And
Whoa.
it just sounded so mad.
This guy can come back from the
I
dead.
was like, do you think he was drunk or something? He said, I think he was more than drunk.
I think he was on meth.
I think he was on methamphetamine.
I think he was on meth.
God.
He was a meth addict.
He was crazy, man. But you just don't expect to see things like that in a little, nice, pretty little town.
Stay away from meth, kids.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. Well, we both had some interesting characters dealing with.
That's fascinating.
Honestly,
man.
I'm never gonna forget that story with the gimp. I just turned around and I ended up going this right detour. Obviously, Bridgewater was I couldn't go through there, so I was like, how am I gonna get home? This was like my journey home. Already limited on my options. Anyway, I ended up driving all the way to this place called Broomfields, and I had to pop out by this beautiful little village called Enmore and went home from there. But it was real strange, and the drive to Broomfields from where I was, it was such rickety little roads and it had loads of potholes and stuff, and it was almost quite creepy in itself, and it was quite funny because obviously Evie heard the conversation I was having with this guy, and again she was like, "Daddy, are we gonna see the naughty man?" And I was like, "No, don't you worry, darling. He's not down this road."
Evie wanted to see the naughty man too.
Yeah. I was at.
She was intrigued.
I was at the sheriff's.
She was intrigued of the rest.
The sheriff's have locked him up. They've already got him. They've already locked him up. But what's funny is it's real funny because I guess like everybody's so different. Like I thought it was I thought it was mental. Don't get me wrong. As I said, I was really taken back when the guy first said that. I really didn't expect this guy, of all the things this guy could have said to me, I didn't think he was going to say that there was a gimp down there attacking cars. Man. But like, it didn't really bother me. I just thought it was like, what the hell? Anyway, and I was more just like, oh my God, another detour home? What the hell? But it was real funny because I sent a voice message to Em, my wife, because I thought she was at a gig in Bristol. She was watching Chelsea Wolfe with her sister and our friend Alice. And I thought when she comes out of that on the journey home, she can listen to that voice note, and she's probably going to be like, "That's hilarious." But apparently, it really freaked her out.
Oh God!
And she had to drop her friend Dom off in Taunton, so she drove from Bristol to Taunton, but then went over the hills home. And she said that when she was driving back over the hills, she was like real freaking out, thinking she was going to get tapped back in. But I was like, yeah, but it wasn't even really anywhere near those roads. And she was like, I know, but I was just like thinking like,
I was on my own in the car.
What if he like ran off and the police didn't get him and he managed to get to where I was? And I was like, that is so funny. Apparently she was like really scared driving home, and I just thought that is hilarious. You know what I mean? She was literally like, I'm so glad that was you in that situation, not me. I was like, what? I was like, that's crazy.
It's so funny how the lady folk can sometimes get like quite scared like that. Like even a couple nights ago, we went up to the Whitcliffe, which I was telling you about that house up by there, you know.
Yeah.
And like it was completely dark, and it was the bonfire night with all the fireworks and stuff. I said, let's just stop here. We'll go for just a little thing around the woods, around the lap of the field with the dog, just to give him a quick pee, you know, get out. And I got out and. She was holding my hand, and it was completely dark, but it's beautiful. You can see you can see the little lights and that, and see a few fireworks going off. And for me, I'm just thinking this is beautiful. Walking. But Meg's like holding on to my hand. She's like so scared, like oh no, what if we see someone up here? And I'm like,
what if there's a monster?
It's all good. Let's just go. And I needed a pee. And I said, I just got to go for a pee a sec. And she's like, I'm not letting you go
Nature
your
calls.
Hand. I'm not letting you go in your hand. I was like, you got to let go of my hand.
Because I need to guide the sausage.
I need to guide it out of my trouser. You don't get to do it. And she said, no, let me do it.
Really?
But I wouldn't let her do it. In the end, she relinquished and had to hold the lead.
She relinquished the sausage.
Yeah, so... But it's just, I was just thinking in that moment, Carl, you're getting so scared. It's all good, nothing up here.
Man, you know what? I think I got a little bit of that in me.
Yeah.
I think I got a little bit of that in me.
Really?
I think if I was driving down the road and I saw the Bridgewater Gimp, man, I would be shell shocked. I'd be shell shocked. I'll be in my little car.
Imagine you and your little Fago. With a gimp on the roof.
My car is so small as well. I'd feel really terrified, man. If he got on the roof of my car, oh god, man.
Did I ever tell you about the time I went to a party by Kennington Park?
Oh right, yeah.
Down that way, there was someone had a party going on.
Free party sort of thing.
Yeah, and I at their house, but big old land and lovely. And I went up there and I had my little Ford Fiesta. And I was leaving from this party, and it was all
I think I have heard the story, but tell it because it's a funny one. I think I know what you're gonna say.
And like
this is such a funny story.
I hooned off, like it was. I hooned off, and I didn't realize. And then about halfway down the lane back to Cannington, I just realized there was someone on the roof of my car. And I'd been like flying, man. I do not know how he stayed on up there. But I slammed the brakes on him. Boom, he came flying off the top. And he was just laughing, and then he just went running off back to the party. But man, I just realized the camera was on me.
There was a guy sat in his car just chilling out at the party.
Yeah, on the roof.
Oh, do you know this man?
I did not know
really.
Who he jumped on. And like I thought, I didn't even know he was up there.
Drew didn't realize it was obviously dark. Drew was having a good time. Got in the car.
I think he must have jumped on because I would have seen him at the top. I would have seen him, as I was getting in the car and that. My eye line's high.
Maybe you didn't know. I mean, it's hard to say. Hindsight's always 20/20. I know, but
I had a car full of people.
If you were like in your you're distracted by other people. You're thinking your own thoughts. You're talking to someone, getting in the car. Maybe if it's dark, you don't realize that somebody sat on the roof. Maybe especially if they're wearing dark clothes. But that story always makes me laugh so much.
Because I hooned it. I was hooning it, and I didn't. And
this guy's hanging on for dear life.
Hanging on for dear life, and then.
Oh my God, no!
Slowed right down, but he was still hanging on, and then I slammed it, and he came flying off.
That is a story that man will tell from the rest of his
life.
life.
It's so funny that he just was amazing. Like, oh my God, and just ran back to the party.
Yeah.
Whoever that guy is, man, fair play.
Yeah,
you're a friend of the pod. That is a hilarious little story. If you, by any chance, if this story gets back to the man who that was, then
remember those
then get in touch. Get in touch. We'll give you a shout out on the pod. Maybe you could even send us a little voice note of your recollection of your events. And just for anyone listening in general, if there's anything you ever want to share with us, if you want to share with us,
we like your stories, man.
I would love to hear your stories.
If you've got a good story, if any of our stories remind you of a story you have a bit of a similar story, or you just or maybe it's not completely unrelated, regardless of what it is, whether it's a funny story, a supernatural tale, maybe something you've encountered, maybe just some thoughts or some quips of yours, whatever it may be, then please get in touch. Send us something. It could be a voice note. It could be in writing. And if it's a voice note, we'll play it out on there. And if it's in writing, then we'll read it out on there. But yeah, please. But get involved. This is a show for the people. We try and just stay pretty sincere and genuine. And we just want to share in the good times, really. But yeah, that story always makes me laugh my ass off, Deputy Raymond Jr. That's so funny. That guy must have been absolutely pooping his pants when he realized that you were like hooning it off, man.
Yeah, it's like he goes from like, okay, I'm gonna stay on the top of this car as a joke to like, oh my God, I'm holding on for dear life.
I'm gonna die.
I didn't realize it must have been from the house to like the top of where Kennington Park is. Like it's a long road down there, before we realized he was on there.
Oh my God,
man, that's such a good story.
That is hilarious, man.
That's such a good story. Do you want to hear about another interesting human being?
Absolutely, man.
Have you ever heard of a guy called Kano Jigoro?
Kano Jigoro.
He is Japanese, man. He is the legendary founder of Judo.
Oh, wow.
The martial art known as Judo. Yeah, he was a tiny man. He was only 5'2" tall. And I can't even believe this. I don't even know if I believe this is true because I can't imagine being this light. But apparently he was only 41 kilograms.
Man.
That's only about 100
like half
pounds.
of me, man.
That's so
crazy.
light. But then again, I guess, if you're 5'2", and also Japanese tend to be very lean. Do you know what I mean? Especially in those days. Very lean gentlemen. Asians in general.
I remember when I was real light, I remember feeling like I was a feather. You know, and I bet this man, he must feel like he can move like the wind.
Yeah, I mean, I bet Bruce Lee couldn't have been much more than like 150 pounds, but he wasn't like that short. And he used to do like a lot of weight training and stuff like that as well. I know. So yeah, maybe this guy was actually 41 kilos, but I just can't comprehend being that light. I'm like quite a bit more than twice that body weight. So yeah, he was only 5'2" and 41 kilos. Despite being a smaller man, he could toss large men around with ease. On his deathbed, he asked that he be buried with a white belt instead of a black belt. He wanted to be remembered as a learner, not a master. And I think that's quite a beautiful thing, don't you think?
Beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know how many people know this, but he actually he basically invented judo after spending time doing jiu-jitsu.
I was going to say judo. I was thinking jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. So judo and jiu-jitsu are basically, they're from the same family tree. But he did jiu-jitsu, and he thought that there were some holes in the game.
Wow.
So
judo got a bit more like... Has it got
throws.
Throws and stuff.
It definitely does have a lot of similar stuff. So all of the submissions, or at least the vast majority of them in judo, are the same as the ones in jiu-jitsu. Like arm bars, rear naked chokes, things like that, kimuras. But, judo has much more of an emphasis on throws. And I know that one of the main criticisms of jiu-jitsu, if there are any, and don't get me wrong, jiu-jitsu is a fantastic martial art, especially for self-defense. But it's one of the criticisms is it's not good for, like, attacking, and it's not good when you're on your feet.
Right.
But so the good thing about judo is they have all these crazy, masterful throws. And they're also, like this guy, like good old Kano, showed the world. You don't have to be, like, real big. It's not like so much like wrestling. Wrestling is very much like, don't get me wrong, there's a huge technical aspect to it, but there's also a lot of a strength aspect.
Y'all can rely on someone if you're heavy and pin them down.
The best wrestlers tend to be very big, strong guys, whereas this guy, as I said, only 5'2", 41 kilos, yet could throw massive, heavy guys with ease. So it's got a bit more like trips, techniques, a bit more like...
And look as well, Bruce Lee was 64 kilos.
Really? Wow. Okay, so only about 20 more than old Kano. But yeah, using people's weight against them in like judo, things like that, using their momentum. So if a guy's running towards you, just sort of use his momentum and weight and flip him on, and then the next thing you know, you've got him in an arm bar, he's screaming. But he invented judo after doing jiu-jitsu. I think that's a really interesting thing. But like a little bit like the guy we were talking about earlier on, he was just a really like special man. Judo founder Jigoro Kano. He was an educator and a visionary. He originally started jiu-jitsu to try and develop his own physical strength. But then he added his own ideas to jiu-jitsu to develop what he called was a complete fighting system, which personified maximum efficiency with minimum effort. In full, his judo was called Kodokan Judo. He founded it in 1882 and became the first Asian member of the International Olympic Committee. In 1912, he helped to establish the Japan Amateur Athletic Association and was a Japanese representative at the Olympic Games of 1928 in Amsterdam, in 1932 in Los Angeles, and 1936 in Berlin. I do believe that's the one famously where Hitler was tweaking.
Oh, yeah.
You see there's videos of him tweaking. Unfortunately, Kano died at sea in 1938 at the age of 77 while on board the NYK line motor ship Hikawa Maru. But yeah, just a really amazing man. I say he was born in 28th of October, 1860. As I said, he became a teacher by the end. So he wasn't just a founder of judo. He was a teacher, apparently a very good teacher. He was a teacher at a university, as well as the first Japanese man on the Olympic Committee. Wow. So just amazing. Apparently, he also knew how to speak several languages fluently.
Wow.
And apparently he was a complete academic, even though he was only this little 5'2" guy. But not only was he just an insanely amazing judoka, but was a complete scholar as well, an insane academic. As I said, a scholar, a teacher, multilingual, and apparently even wrote a lot of his stuff about judo in English. Just to show very interesting, but a cool guy. And another guy that I think that, why don't we know so much about this guy?
Yeah, man.
Going back to Cardi B. If we know about Cardi B and her vajayjay, why don't we know about old Kano? About old Jigoro Kano.
That's right, man.
So this is another guy I think we should put some respect on his name. Literally invented and a martial art which to this day is like every Olympic Games nowadays.
Oh, cool.
Every Olympic Games has judo.
I don't think I've ever watched any judo.
I watched him this year.
It's one of my favorite things to watch.
Very good,
man. I'm gonna watch me some judo.
Oh, it's really good, and I think it's it's a really like cool thing to watch. When you see judo.
So to finish them off, is it a hold like a?
It's like points.
Throw.
If you throw them on the ground, then you get like a point or something like that.
That's like in the Olympics. That's in the Olympics, but like actually in like say if you went to like a judo martial arts class, they teach you loads of submissions as well. But I think it's one of those things that like in actual judo competitions, it's more like points. So it's more like if you do what's it called again when you an ippon? I think it's called an ippon. Things like that. It's like you get if you do an ippon, it's like a good throw. But it's really cool to watch, man. If you watch it like at a high level, really freaking cool. I remember I was watching the judo at the last Olympics while I was waiting for my plane in the Isle of Man airport.
Oh, nice.
Wow. When I was coming home from the Isle of Man last, that was really cool.
Wow, man. I think, in fact, I've wore the medal of a judo champion.
Have you?
I think when we were at primary school, man, we had an Olympic medalist come to our school. And I'm pretty sure she was a judo champion.
That's well cool, man.
I'm pretty sure.
Do you remember what her name was?
I can't, man. Unfortunately, I cannot. I think I was probably about 4. I imagine it would have been the Beijing 2008 Olympics that she would have participated in. So maybe we could find out. But yeah, shout out to her, man.
I went to a couple of judo lessons when I was really small, when I was like a little kid. I didn't keep up with it, but I regret it now. I think it's one of the best martial arts, really. I think regardless of whether it's like self-defense or just like in general, I think the ability to like throw someone effectively, regardless of their size, and then at the same time to just then be able to slap on amazing submissions, like that's just a really good skill to have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and like great for self-defense as well. Like let's face it, if you're just like a boxer, that's amazing. But like you can like really hurt people by like, and also your own fist by like obviously like hitting them really hard. Whereas if you're a judo and you're dealing say with that crazy guy that you dealt with the other night, if you could just like flip him and just choke him out or something, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I wish I knew some kind of martial art. I wish I would have learned and kind of persevered with martial arts. I did a few when I was younger, like karate and some boxing. And some things like that, but never, always for just a little bit of time. Never for a full learning,
Yeah, man, you're gonna have to look at
the belts.
Never too late to learn, man.
Yeah, man.
Never
I might
too
have
late
to
to
get
learn.
me back to some kind of martial arts.
Look up some judokas near you.
Yeah,
go learn some judo.
Around, man.
Do a little flippity flip. Little submission.
Even back in college, I remember I went boxing lessons and stuff, but I just didn't dig it, man. Like at the place and stuff, and the people you're surrounded by in that, I didn't really feel like a sense of like camaraderie and stuff with them, I was just like, this ain't my crew.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Fair enough.
Can I tell y'all a video I watched this morning?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
That it's been playing on my mind ever since I watched it. It was a woman. She Captain something. I can't remember quite what her last name was. Captain something. That's what she'll go by for now. She was talking on this like podcast format about her times at sea. When she was talking about the Bermuda Triangle, being in international waters. But the most interesting thing, someone said, "What's the scariest thing you've seen at sea?" And she didn't actually tell her own story. But she said once she was at like a conference or a meal or whatever and met this nuclear submarinist, right? So this guy had been spending years and years just underwater in like a nuclear warhead, submarine. And apparently this is what the man said. He said, "I always wanted to be buried in the sea when he dies. And then one day I saw something that I cannot explain. That fish was not man. That fish was not human. That fish was no fish. And from that day forth, I never wanted to be buried in the sea again."
What the hell?
That's fascinating, right, man? He said it was like a devilfish. Like whatever he saw in those deep depths, apparently it shook him to his core. And ever since then, he hates the idea of being left alone with that thing.
Did he say any more than that?
The main thing he like described it as was like a devil, like the devil.
The devil was in the sea?
Something like that, yeah.
Part fish, part demon?
Yeah, maybe, man. Maybe that's where they go. But I just thought that was fascinating. It brought me back to when we were talking ages ago on the pod about how Occam's razor hints at the fact that there could be more and more sea monsters still out there.
Oh, yeah.
Man, maybe that's what he saw.
Yeah, they reckon there's about 10. Don't they? They reckon there's about 10 sea monsters.
Man.
Or unexplained sea creatures that are bigger than 2 meters in the sea. Judging that's like almost like a mathematical equation, taking into account how big the ocean is, how much we've explored, etc. That's a really fascinating fact, isn't it?
It's amazing, man.
I love stuff like that as well. I love it when they like find like a new amazing creature or something, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Do you know what I mean? It's like so cool. Yeah, man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Man. I just thought you guys would appreciate that.
I mean, I love any type of mystery, but I mean, I've looked into some like cool sea mysteries recently. Just a couple. I mean, I think it's really interesting, and I don't really know what to make of it. I think, to be honest, most likely it's just like people blowing up stories and over exaggerating them. But you know, when the people that claim that they've seen, I think it's like off Mexico, they call it what do they call it? There's some name that means like the black fish or something like that. But basically saying that it's something that looks like a great white shark, but it's like more than 40 feet long. And stuff like that.
Wow.
And apparently several people have just said that they've seen it all around the same place in Mexico. But it's like, how much of that is like maybe it was just a super big great white shark and then they just exaggerated. Right? Do you know what I mean? Even if it was like a 22-foot long great white shark and then they just exaggerated it even more. But people were saying they had like a 35-foot long boat and it was bigger than that and stuff like that. I know, and also know there's tales of people, like books, for example, of like the 1800s of explorers from when they first, were exploring places like, like remote places in Africa and stuff, and saying that they saw Nile crocodiles that were like 40 feet long and stuff. And the thing that I think is intriguing about that is I don't think that Nile crocodile probably ever got that big. But one of the things I think is really interesting about alligators and crocodiles is that they don't really die of old age. We talked about that before in the pod. They just sort of they just live in just keep on living. And a lot of these great hunters from Europe were brought in to kill man-eating crocs, because that's like, they say about some animals, like, oh, they don't mean to eat you, they think you're someone else. No. I mean, don't get me wrong, no, that is the case for some animals. But with crocodiles, that's not the case. They either know what you are and they want to eat you, or they just don't care what you are.
Yeah, they're out for blood, man.
And there are like entire African villages to this day, like remote ones. You can go there and like pretty much everyone in the village is either missing like an arm or a leg, or have got like a chunk of flesh missing. That's crazy, isn't it? Because some of these remote places in Africa, they have to like go and wash their clothes in the river, so they ain't got a choice. They have to go to the river to get their drinking water, to clean. And I think that's so crazy that this stuff. But yeah, back in the day, in these books from like the 1800s, these hunters and stuff say that they went to these places and they saw Nile crocodiles that were like way bigger than their boat, and their boat was like 32 feet long and stuff.
It's cool, and that and the snakes. When you hear about the stories of the giant snakes in the middle of the Amazon, that blows my mind as well. I'd love to see like a absolutely humongous snake.
Yeah,
that'd be so cool.
I think one of the things that does give a little bit of credence as well to those stories with the giant crocs is bearing in mind that they don't, as I said, really die of old age. So when the Europeans started exploring all these places in like inner Africa and stuff, there might have been crocodiles that were like 200 years old around. And because they never...
How is that, man? Is it like the lobsters, where the lobsters don't die of old age?
I think so, man. They just get like big and slow, and then they can't really hunt anymore.
Yeah,
so they've
got like insane immune systems and stuff. Yeah. And because they're cold-blooded as well, they can go ridiculously long periods of time without eating as well. That's one of the reasons why they obviously have survived all of the extinction events. They shared the planet with all the way back in the dinosaur period, and then the K2 extinction happened, where that giant asteroid wiped out the dinos, but they survived because they just
mad, man. It's mad to think like the cells, like what happens in our bodies when our cells don't replicate properly, and they can't actually eat. The aging process stops like the actual your cells being able to recreate on the
because what they say is what happens. I can't remember what past the age of it is. It's even like past 25 or maybe even 21. Is that basically like for every say 2 cells that die, only 1 can regenerate?
Yeah,
and basically that's why you start wrinkling.
Copies. They can't make complete copies of what it was. So the copy that's made is slightly off,
deteriorating. Yeah, and that's why you slowly get gray, you slowly get wrinkly. Yeah, all that stuff.
It's mad, man. But it's crazy to think like what it is in their
crocs.
Bodies.
I know that a lot of scientists are doing a lot of research on things like crocs and things like lizards as well, because a lot of them can like
arms and
the regeneration, and obviously that could be an amazing breakthrough if they could somehow
harness
that and almost like put somehow in layman's terms unlock that in us or something, like take that sequence that happens in their genome or whatever and unlock that in us, then we could just regrow limbs. That'd be crazy. That'd be absolutely crazy. But I think that does add some credence to with the crocs. Like as I said, like if some of them were like 200 years old, 250 years old, because you can guarantee nowadays it's very rare to find a croc that's 100, because once they get a certain size, humans like hunting the biggest, baddest things. So it's almost like as soon as you get something that's
big
like
and slow, they can hunt it good.
Yeah, just get like a freaking anti-tank rifle or something right between the eyes. Doesn't matter.
Bazooka.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how big and strong that old croc
right out of the water.
Yeah, but I mean, I know that they do say. I can't remember if it's in. I can't remember if it is in Africa, but there are some reports of there being some absolute monster crocs that have evaded being caught in the world. And I know that some people even say there's like 1 or 2 that are like over 30 feet.
Wow,
that's pure speculation. So we can't really say one way or another, but there are some croc experts that have looked at it and said compared it to things around it. Like say there's like a tree next to it, whatever, and they say, well, this tree is typically this dimension. From the crocs that are next to it, this croc could actually be 30 feet long. Stuff like that, which is pretty interesting.
Man.
But
that's as big as a bus.
That is big as a bus. That's right, Stretch McCoy. Right, fellas, have you got anything else you want to add to today's show, or should we wrap things up?
I just say God bless Donald Trump.
God bless.
Thank you, man. I want to see what y'all gonna do to this world.
God bless America. Let's hope that Donald Trump can make the world a better place, a more secure place. Maybe help put an end to some of these wars that are going on.
Help boost that economy.
Boost that economy in America. Hopefully, it will rub off well on the UK. And
we'll all be the better for it.
Yeah, strengthen our ties. I know that Donald Trump, on the whole, likes UK. He naturally likes the UK. I don't know what he thinks about the Labour government. I don't think anyone thinks that highly of them after what they've done to the pensioners and the farmers, etc. But yeah, let's hope he has a good influence on the UK as well. Obviously, he had a Scottish mother and things like that, so he naturally has those ties to the UK. But yeah, let's see how things goes, folks. Let's stay optimistic. I know I'm feeling optimistic. Let's ride this wave and let's see what happens. Thanks as always to everyone listening for tuning in Pandora's Box today. We love you and appreciate you, regardless of your views and your opinions, even if they're very completely different to ours. Let's still try and love and respect each other, folks, even if we've got different opinions. Respect that freedom of speech. If you respect our opinions, we'll respect yours, folks.
That's it.
Everyone listening, you're a friend of the pod. We appreciate you. We love you, and we'll see you next time for some more Pandora's Box shenanigans.
Bye-bye.
See you later.